From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to episode 237 of the Blind Android Users Podcast. We're recording today, Saturday, June the 21st, 2025. I'm Warren Carr, hiding here in the state of Washington.
And I'm John Dyer from the state of Virginia.
One from Lebanon.
And this is Salih Kunduz from Samsun, Turkey.
And that's my brother there from another mother, a handsome guy like me here, and welcome to episode 225. Coming up in this episode, in our spotlight, we talk about the Motorola Razr+ 2024. And John went out and got this just so that you guys will have an idea of what the phone does and what it cannot do. I kind of like it a whole lot, but John thinks different, and so his impressions is what we're focusing on today for the Motorola Razr+ 2024. In our app of the week, we have something called the Office Viewer Reader, and that would conclude today's episode. Let's do some wellness being here. John, how are you doing in Virginia? I know it's kind of summertime and all of that good stuff. Anything happening?
No, not much. It's pretty low key. It's definitely starting to feel like summer. It's been in the 90s this week, consistently for the first time this year. So, yeah, I'm staying inside.
Interesting. For us, though, we're kind of on a cool down. We're going to be in the 60s, I think maybe 64, 65 today. Like I said, I think it was last week or the week before, somewhere back there, that we actually had a three-digit temp, 101 or something like that, or 100. But it's been on a cool down. So we're kind of cooling down here. Sally, how about you? What's going on there in that Samsung city? You got all the Samsung phones stacked around you. Doggone you, bro. You're not sharing. What's going on?
The Samsung phones are doing well here. So I gotta say, today is the solstice day, the longest day here in our hemisphere. I'm sure it's the same over there.
That's right. Our first day of summer. So it's all been spring all this time. So now we're starting summer officially. And welcome to summer, guys. And it's summertime here and summertime everywhere else, except places like maybe South Africa. I think this is their winter or whatever that is. We saved the best for last, and that we're talking about the pretty one. Karen girl, what's going on there with you? I hope you ate more pineapples, and that's what I'm most concerned about. What's going on?
Hello, I'm doing well here. No pineapples, no fruits at all this week. Actually, it's the beginning of summer, and you know how much I hate summer. However, it's still good compared to last June. It was terribly bad. It was so hot. Well, this June was mild. The weather was mild. It was acceptable, and we are just finishing June, so it's still acceptable here. And yeah, things are going well.
So how come you had pineapple a little while ago, and now it seems like you kind of kicked it to the curb? What's going on? You don't like it anymore, or is scarce to find? What's the problem? I mean, for someone who's not eating fruits and you like pineapple, why not have a boatload of that stuff?
Well, it's just because I don't care at all about fruits. So if it's available, then I'll take it. If not, I'll not search for it. So that's the point. So, you know, I'm not that fruit eater. So yeah, this is the point.
So it's like me, if a food that I don't care too much about, in other words, you don't go out looking for it, but when it presents itself, you'll eat it. I got it. Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight. Let's now move on to our main theme of the podcast. And of course, we're talking about that Motorola Razr Plus 2024. And here's John now to give his impressions, and then we'll make our comments thereafter. John?
Hello, welcome to this demonstration and impressions of the Motorola Razr Plus 2024. I hesitate to call this a review because, to be honest, I never once used this as my daily driver. But I have played around with it a lot to try to figure out how it behaves and how it works with TalkBack, especially when it comes to the cover screen. So I'll just give you some thoughts I have about the hardware, and then I will demonstrate the cover screen, and then I will demonstrate other aspects of the operating system that I think might be important because they're unique to the Motorola experience. I'll start with the build. I think the build quality is pretty good. I got the vegan leather version, so it's the first time I've ever had a phone with that sort of backing on it, and it's interesting. It does make me feel like I don't need a case on it as much as I would something with a glass back. So I do like the build. I do like the flipping motion. The opening and closing is pretty satisfying. The crease on the screen is minimal compared to how flips are or folding phones are. The speakers are interesting. They're decent when playing media, but they suffer from the same thing as some other phones do. The accessibility channel just isn't the same. It just sounds bad. And the volume, the accessibility volume seems to fluctuate while you're using the device. It just goes up and down, and I don't know why. But anyway, here will be a sample of what the speakers sound like, the accessibility channel, and the media channel. Here are some examples of how the accessibility channel sounds on this device. The accessibility volume is at 50% right now.
This is just a sample of some text being read aloud by Google's TTS aka speech recognition and synthesis from Google.
This is just a sample of some text being read aloud by Google's TTS aka speech recognition and synthesis from Google.
This is just a sample of some text being read aloud by Google's TTS aka speech recognition and synthesis from Google.
This is just a sample of some text being read aloud by Google's TTS aka speech recognition and synthesis from Google.
Here are some media samples at 50% volume. And then here they are at 100% volume. The haptics on this are good. I really like them. There was an issue with the haptics when I was running Android 14, where it kind of got stuck and it would just vibrate indefinitely until you did something else that made it vibrate. But that seems to have been resolved in Android 15 once I updated the phone to Android 15. The microphone seems good. I recorded videos and I sent messages on Telegram and that sort of thing, and I came through pretty clear. I don't have any complaints there. I will say I did not deal much with the camera, so I'm not going to comment on that. I do like the fingerprint sensor. It is a side-mounted fingerprint sensor, so if you're not into that, you may not like this, but being a side-mounted fingerprint sensor means it's pretty fast, pretty responsive. It barely ever gets your finger wrong. The one tiny gripe I have with it is that it's almost flush with the phone, so it is kind of hard to find, but once you get used to it, it's not a big deal. Although this isn't strictly hardware related, I did want to mention that I can use the Braille keyboard in screen away mode perfectly fine without a case, which is a rarity these days. A lot of phones have their display so close to the edge of the screen and flat sides, which kind of keeps you from being able to use it accurately without a case because your fingers touch the sides. But I did not have any issues with this, so if I were to have this as my phone, I don't think I would use a case on it, which would be nice because I almost always have to use a case for this reason. Now this won't be a surprise, but the overall performance on this is great. It has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor, so TalkBack is very responsive. It kind of feels like a more responsive Pixel because it's so close to stock in most situations. So I'm going to demonstrate the cover screen first. Before I get to it, I'm just going to explain the TalkBack behavior. TalkBack works fine for the most part on the cover screen. You can swipe around, you can explore, you can double tap. Everything works fine, all the gestures work. But where you run into a problem is anytime you want an overlay. So for example, if you want to bring up the TalkBack menu, you can't, because that TalkBack menu does not appear on the cover display. It actually appears on the inside of the display. So you can't interact with the TalkBack menu. You also cannot get image descriptions because those appear in a pop-up. So if you try to do a Gemini image description, there technically will be a window that appears, but it won't be on the cover display. So if you have something on the cover display you want described to you, you actually have to have describe image assigned to a gesture because you can't access the TalkBack menu. And then once you did that gesture, you'd have to open the phone to see the pop-up and read it. And then at that point, you've lost your place on the cover screen. Another thing that happens because of this overlay issue is that you can't hide the cover display. The rudimentary way that TalkBack hides the screen is literally just puts a black pop-up over the entire screen. So it doesn't actually disable the display or anything like that. It just covers it with, with nothing. So while the internal display gets hidden, the external display will never be hidden. Even if it says, even if you have it assigned to a gesture and you do it, it says screen hidden, but it's not actually hiding the cover screen, only the internal display. So having all that out of the way, let's just turn it on.
Device unlocked.
So the device is unlocked. I'm just going to swipe.
11:07.
We have the time,
Monday, May 19th.
date,
74 degrees. 93%.
weather, battery,
App shortcut. Button.
and then we have some app shortcuts that are not accessible. They are technically labeled app shortcuts, so you cannot label them,
App shortcut. Button.
because with TalkBack you can only label unlabeled items. So if you're going to use these app shortcuts, I believe there's 4 apps you can put on the home screen of the cover display. You'll have to memorize what is in which position. And then when you continue to try to swipe, nothing happens.
11:08.
It goes back to the top. And the reason I demonstrated this is because there is a button on here that you have to access for notifications, but you can't swipe to it, you have to explore to it.
Notification indicator area.
And as you can see, whoever gave that a label had no idea TalkBack exists, but it kind of lets us know. This takes us to notifications, so I'm going to double tap it. And I believe it's done something. Let's swipe.
11:09 a.m. Do not disturb.
Wi-Fi signal full. Collapsed. See what you can do. Learn how to get the most out of your external display.
Okay, so here, now we're in notifications.
Dismiss.
You can dismiss them with actions. It just doesn't acknowledge anything has happened.
1109. Do not disturb. Image. Wi-Fi signal full. Image.
Let's see.
Phone 4 bars. Battery charging 94%. Collapsed. Android system. USB debugging connected. Tap to turn off USB debugging. Expand. Button.
Okay, so yeah, you can.
Collapsed.
It does
Android
dismiss
system.
it,
You dismiss.
but it doesn't say anything. And then if you swipe,
1109 a.m.
it goes to the beginning. So
Close.
And I believe to get out of the notifications, you actually have to swipe down with 2 fingers. I'm going to try to back out using the back gesture. Don't think anything happened. I'm going to try the home gesture. Nothing's happening. So yeah, you have to swipe down with 2 fingers. And although nothing verbalized, I think we're back on the home screen.
1112. Windows Secondary Display Launcher app.
As you can see, Secondary Display Launcher app is the name of the cover display interface. Yet another thing a developer did not realize would ever be seen or heard, so kind of ugly there. Now I'm going to teach you how to navigate this interface. So I've showed you the home screen, but there are different panels you can swipe through. I don't know what they call them, but I'll show you how to customize them first. So you have to do a pinch gesture, pinching 2 fingers together. I think something happened. Again, it wasn't verbalized. I'm going to touch.
Unlabeled row 2, column 1 in grid 2 rows 3 columns.
Okay, so
Edit. Out of grid. Unlabeled row 2, column 1 in grid 2 rows 3 columns. Detected. Unlabeled row 1, column 3. Unlabeled column 2. Unlabeled column 1.
so as you can see, all of these are unlabeled. These are the different screens. I guess home screen.
Unlabeled column 2.
I have an app screen.
Detected
weather.
icon location.
So, okay, yeah. I don't know what location would be.
Unlabeled column 3.
Let's see if this gets
Detected icon play.
Media, maybe.
Unlabeled row 2, column 1. Detected icon close.
So yeah, I mean, it'll kind of detect them, but they are all unlabeled. So this is kind of frustrating. Let me go to
Unlabeled.
edit.
Unlabeled column 1.
I think when you go to edit,
Edit. Out of grid.
they are labeled, so you do know what you're putting there. Let's see.
Home. Row 1, column 1 in grid 2 rows 3 columns.
Yeah, so that's the home screen.
Apps. Column 2.
Apps.
Button.
This button will, I think, will remove apps.
Widget panel. Column 3.
Then we have the widgets panel.
Button.
Again, that will remove.
Weather. Row 2, column 1.
Weather.
Button. Button out of grid.
And then this button is probably...
Detected icon back.
Okay, maybe not.
Unlabeled. Detected icon add.
This one will add. So there's a back button. Then there's an add button. So this is where you can add panels, just to show you what other panels there are. Let's see what we have.
Communications. Row 1, column 1 in grid 4 rows 3 columns. Button. Apps. Column 2.
Yeah, I've already got that.
Button. Games. Column 3.
There's games.
Button. Calendar. Row 2, column 1. Button. Widget panel. Column 2. Button. Timer. Column 3. Button. Stopwatch. Row 3, column 1. Button. Google News. Column 2. Button. Google Stock. Column 3. Button. Spotify. Row 4, column 1. Button. Back. Out of grid.
So those are the different panels you can add. You can double tap hold to rearrange them, but again, it will be unlabeled. But the only place they're unlabeled is when you do that pinch gesture to zoom out to see all of them. When you're editing them, they are labeled, so you can move them around there. Let me just back up and try it to see.
Apps. Row 1, column 2 in grid 2 rows 3 columns.
I'm going to double tap hold.
Drag started.
So it doesn't tell me that I'm moving it, but it does move it.
Home. Column 1. 74 degrees. Out of grid. Apps. Column 3.
Yeah, so apps is now near the right side. Backing out of this. I think that back.
Monday, May 19th. Out of grid. 74 degrees. 95%. App shortcut. Button.
Yeah, we're back on the home screen. So now to go through these different panels, I'm going to swipe with 2 fingers. So I'm going to slide 2 fingers to the left to go to the next screen.
Widgets. In list. Page 3 of 6.
This is the widget screen. It's pretty self-explanatory. Basically any widget you can put on a home screen, you can put here, and it will be as accessible as the widget is on the home screen. So for example, Audible widget does not have the buttons labeled, but you can label them. So that's the same experience here. And I would imagine any other widget would behave the same way. Going to the next page.
Apps. Row 1 in grid 5 rows 4 columns. Page 4 of 6.
Now this is apps, and these thankfully are labeled. So unlike the app shortcuts on the home screen, your actual apps page, which you could think of as an actual home screen, this is more of a home screen than the first screen that comes up because that's more of a lock screen. You can have apps here. Let me swipe
Manage
through.
apps. Button.
You go here to edit.
Calculator. Row 2 column 1.
So here's how it
Photos. Column 2.
looks. They are labeled.
Recorder. Column 3. Messages. Column 4. Maps. Row 3 column 1. Gmail. Column 2. Swappa. Column 3. Telegram. Column 4. Ashley Dyer. Row 4 column 1.
And now you can add shortcuts also. So Ashley Dyer here I think is a shortcut I made that will send a text message to my wife. So we'll just open the Messages app already in that conversation. So you can add apps here, or you can add shortcuts here. The only thing is that the app for the shortcut is not announced, as you heard. It just said my wife's name. It didn't say what the actual app would be. So, if I had one button to call her and one button to text her, I'd have to remember which is in which position because they would both have the same name. I imagine there's a little symbol that shows the app the shortcut is for, but TalkBack doesn't read it.
Joseph Hodge. Column 2.
Again, this is another shortcut. I think this is for Telegram. So I can open this to send a message to somebody on Telegram.
Shorts. Column 3.
Shorts. Maybe this is YouTube Shorts. I was playing around with different shortcuts, so that'll take me directly to YouTube Shorts.
Calculator. Row 2 column 1.
Okay, back up at the top.
Manage apps.
Swipe left
Button. Row 1.
to show you how to manage these.
Secondary display launcher app. Back. Button. Out of grid. Selected. Apps. Tab. 1 of 2 in list 2 items.
So there's 2 tabs at the top. Apps is your list of apps. You can add any app to the home screen. And just to let you know how this works, whenever you open an app for the first time on the home screen, on the cover screen, I should say, it will give you a pop-up saying this app is not designed to be formatted correctly on the cover screen. Do you still wish to allow it? And then once you hit allow, it will always run that app on the cover screen if you open it on the cover screen. So that's a much simpler approach than how Samsung does it. You have to actually use a good lock module to add apps to a custom launcher before they will open on the home screen. So this is a much easier approach. So there's 2 tabs here, apps and shortcuts.
Shortcuts. Tab. 2 of 2.
And I'll just show you an example of some shortcuts.
Shortcuts. Button. Out of list. Done. Button. Amazon shopping. Row 2 in grid 60 rows 4 column. Search on Amazon. Row 3 column 1.
So, for example, Amazon has search on Amazon.
Button. Shopping cart. Column 2. Button.
I'm guessing his button is to add it.
Today's deals. Column 3.
So yeah.
Button.
You can add all of these. I'm just going to go ahead and hit this. See what happened.
Shopping cart. Column 2. Today. Antenna pod. Row 4.
I have no
Button.
idea.
Row 3 column 2. Shopping cart.
So I did
Button.
add them as you saw earlier.
Today's deals. Button. View orders. Button. Column 3.
Add
Shopping
orders.
cart. Column. Button. Today's deal. Button. View orders. Column 4. Button.
Okay, that might have done something.
Back. Button. Out of grid. Apps. Tab. 1 of 2 in list 2. Selected. Shortcuts. Tab. 2. Button. Out of list. Done. Button.
So as you can see, I'm struggling with this here. So now I'm going to hit done to see if anything happened.
Shorts. Row 4. Today's deals. Column 4.
So I did add today's deals
View orders. Row 5 column.
and view orders. So when I was hitting that unlabeled button, it was adding them. So, and then from here,
Shorts. Column 3.
you can rearrange them. Let's see.
Drag started.
Again, same
View orders.
thing.
Column 4.
It's not going to tell you where you're putting it, so you'll have to guess. Maybe just know what order you want to add these in and add them in that order because rearranging them is not easy. All right, so that's the apps page. I'm going to go to the next page.
Unlabeled out of grid. Page 5 of 6. Chesapeake.
Looks like this is the weather panel.
Button. Detected icon down. 73 degrees. 83 degrees. 61 degrees. Mostly sunny. 12 p.m. 76 58%. 0 in. 5 miles per hour.
Okay, so as you can see, some things are labeled, some things aren't. Next page.
Secondary display launcher app. Page 5 of 6. 11:25. Monday, May 19th.
I guess this is the home screen?
73 degrees. 98%.
Because I did rearrange some things.
App shortcut. Button.
All right, going to the next page.
Widgets. In list. Page 3 of
Widgets
6.
again.
Apps. Row 1 in
Apps.
Chesapeake. Out of
Okay,
grid.
so-
Page 5 of 6. 73 degrees, 83 degrees, 61 degrees. Page 6 of 6.
So these are the only 4 that I have. And the last thing I'm going to show you on this external display is quick settings. So to get to quick settings, you just swipe down from the top with 2 fingers. And again, nothing gets put in focus, but when you swipe,
10:20 a.m. Do not disturb. Image. Wi-Fi 3 bars. Image. Phone 3 bars.
this is all across the top.
Battery charging 92%.
And then below this,
100%. Display brightness. Slider.
here's the slider. You'll notice that double tapping it does not set it to 50% like the regular brightness slider, but if you double tap and hold,
50%.
that does set it to 50%. Also, double tapping and holding and sliding will adjust it.
53%. 91%. 100%.
And most importantly, it does work with swiping up and down
95%.
to adjust by 5 at a time.
100%.
One thing I wanted to point out about the brightness is that the brightness slider is universal, so when you adjust the brightness on one display, it will adjust it for both. So this is different from Samsung's approach where each display has its own brightness level that it remembers. To the right of the brightness slider is the power menu button.
Power menu. Button.
In case you don't know the button combination that brings up the power menu, which if you're using an assistant for the side key, it would be to press the side key and volume up. And then below this is the actual quick settings toggles.
On Wi-Fi signal full. Wi-Fi 9 area 5 GHz. Switch in pager. Wi-Fi 3 bars. On. Mobile data. Switch. On. Not connected. Bluetooth. Switch. Off. Auto rotate screen. Switch. Off. Color inversion. Switch. Off. Screen record start. Switch. Page 1 of 2. Out of pager.
And then to actually adjust the page, you need to swipe with 2 fingers.
Page 2 of 2.
So you can get to it, it just won't automatically go to it when you're swiping through items. I think that's pretty much it for the cover display or external display. So I'm just going to open it up now and show you some stuff on the internal display.
11:28 a.m. Home. Folder. Test folder. 2 items.
As you can see, there's a test folder that I made. I'm going to double tap here.
Clock. Best Buy.
So it does put the first
Clock.
item in focus. It does let you rename the folder because I said test folder, backing out.
Home.
Um,
Google search. Button. Home.
So just like the Pixel launcher, you could put the home screen in focus and you can swipe through actions.
Apps list. Personalize. Wallpaper. External display setting.
So as you can see, you can get to external display settings here.
Widgets. Home settings. Activate.
So those are all the actions.
Apps list.
Also, just swiping up with 2 fingers will take you to the apps list. Let me show you that.
All apps. Folder. Audible.
I'm going to add this to the home screen.
Shortcuts. Add shortcut to desktop.
Now it says add shortcut to desktop for some reason, but I think it does work. See?
Item added to home screen. Home. Audible. Out of grid.
Okay, so now we're on the home screen. I'm going
All
to
apps.
add something
Audible.
else
Camera.
using the double tap and hold
Pause app.
and drag.
Button. Out of grid. Shortcuts. Home. Move to row 2 Move to row 2 column 1 in home screen 1 of 1. Item moved. Home.
So that works. You can rearrange
Home.
them.
Camera.
I'm going to move it.
Pause app. Button. Shortcuts. Home. Remove. Move to row 2 column 3 in home screen 1 of 1.
So you
Move to row 1 column 3 in home. Create folder with Audible. Move to row 1 column 3 in home screen 1 of 1. Move to row 1 column 3. Move to row 2 column 2 in home screen 1 of 1.
So as you can
Move
see,
to row 2 column 3 in home screen 1 of 1. Item moved. Home.
the dragging works.
Capital H. Hotel.
Let's see.
Camera.
Back in focus.
Shortcuts. Move item.
Moving with actions works.
Add to folder. Test folder.
Also,
Create folder with Audible. Move to row 1 column 3 in home screen 1 of 1. Item moved. Home.
so pretty accessible as far as the launcher goes. Next, I'll show you the recent screen.
Recent apps. Android Accessibility Suite Talkback settings. 33 of 34 in list 34 items.
So you can swipe.
Motorola software update system updates. 30. Android Accessibility Suite Talkback setting. Google Play Services Quick Share. File Manager Plus. 30. Google Play Store 30 of 34.
You can swipe through things, and here's the actions you have.
Close. App info. Split screen. Pin. Activate. Close.
Now just close it.
Task closed. Files by Google Files. 29 of 33.
So actions do work on this, and at the bottom,
Clear all. Button out of list.
there is a clear all, so hey, I may as well do it.
29 apps are cleared with 384 megabytes memory freed up. Home. Camera.
So you don't have to scroll to the end of the list like you do on stock Android or with the Pixel experience. There is a clear all button, and you can swipe between apps if you're using the stock launcher. I think this is the case on most phones these days. If you're not using a stock launcher, you cannot swipe between items with one finger. You have to actually slide the screen with 2 fingers. So another thing I'm going to show you is the quick settings panel. So you can have this, like a lot of phones these days, you can have them split so that quick settings is separate from notifications, or you can have them combined, how it's been in recent history. But I'm going to bring down quick settings to show you something.
Quick settings. Monday, May 19th. Do not disturb. Wi-Fi signal full. Phone 4 bars. Battery charging 100%.
While this is pretty much stock, I mean, it's exactly like a Pixel. The one thing I did notice is down at the bottom,
Open settings.
there's the open settings button, right? But I'm going to swipe right,
Open settings.
and there's another open settings button. So now swiping left.
Open settings. Edit order of settings. Button.
So yeah, there's 2 buttons down here. You probably know one of these is the actual settings button, and one of them is the power menu button that is just mislabeled for some reason. And because it's mislabeled, we can't relabel it.
Open settings.
So going to the second one,
Open settings.
this would be the power menu.
Power menu. Emergency.
But backing out of here, so
Quick settings. 100%. Display brightness. Slider.
that's a quirk there.
Open settings.
Now I'll actually go to settings. I'm going to swipe to make sure.
Edit order of settings.
Okay,
Open
yeah.
settings.
Had to make sure. I'm going to go into settings now.
Settings. Search settings. Network and internet. Mobile Wi-Fi hotspot. 1 of 30 in list 30 items.
Pretty straightforward stuff in there.
Connected devices. Bluetooth pairing. 2 of 30.
Same here.
Moto AI. Ask. Search. Create. Recall. 4 of 30.
I did not do any AI stuff. I'm not going to lie.
Personalize. Wallpaper. Color. Icon. Font. Display size. 5 of 30.
So personalizing, you can do a lot of personalization, but most of it is unlabeled. So if you're customizing fonts, colors, clock faces, that sort of thing, all of it's going to be unlabeled, and you're going to need to use image description to know, like, have it describe the clock style to you or whatever. I mean, very basic things are not labeled in here, and it makes it very difficult to customize if that's something you want to do, but you can figure it out, and I guess obviously you only have to do it once.
External display. Clock style panels apps. 6 of 30.
Now I'm going to go in here just to show you what's in here.
External display. Navigate up. Button out of list.
As you saw earlier, this was an action on the home screen, so you could get here from there also.
Search settings. Button. Help and feedback. Button.
So at the top,
Lock screen. Column 1.
we have lock screen and home screen.
Home screen. Column 2.
And going in here will let you customize either accordingly. I won't explore that for you. I'll let you do it yourself, but same applies to what I said earlier about customization. A lot of it's not labeled, but you can do it.
Razor tips. Learn more about what you can do with your razor. Row 2.
I'm just going to go through the rest of the stuff on this page so you can see what's here.
Panels. Apps, weather calendar and more. Row 3.
Now this right here should take you to the settings for customizing the panels on the cover display. And you actually used to be able to do it from here right within the regular settings. in Android 14, but after the Android 15 update, now when I double tap here,
Close the flip to continue. Cancel. Button out of grid.
it just says close the flip to continue. So you have to do that on the cover display as I demonstrated earlier. I personally find it funny that it says close the flip when this is actually a razor. It's not a flip. But anyway, backing out of here.
External display. Panels. Apps, weather calendar and more. Row 3 in grid 8 rows 2 columns.
And continuing on to show you what else is in here.
Display and font size. Row 4 column 1.
Again, a lot of this stuff is not going to be labeled in here, but you can change it.
Call settings. Column 2. App settings. Row 5. Sleep display. Row 6 column 1. Desk display. Column 2. Music player. Row 7. Creator toolkit. Special tools to boost using your camera in social media apps. Row 8.
And that's all that's in here. So there's a lot of different things you can do with settings related to that cover display.
Settings. External display. Clock style panels apps. 6 of 30 in list 30 items.
I keep calling it cover display, but I should be calling it external display. I think that's a Samsung term I'm using.
Display. Dark theme. Font size brightness. 7 of 30.
These were pretty straightforward. You can adjust the refresh rate, brightness, all that typical sort of things.
Home and lock screen. Customize what is displayed on home and lock screens. 8 of 30.
Similar to where we just were with the external display, you can customize both from here. So, you know, what shortcuts you want on the lock screen and all that. Pretty typical stuff.
Sound and vibration. Volume, vibration. Do not disturb. 9 of 30.
I will say a couple things about sound. One feature that got me excited was app volumes. You can apparently turn on a switch to have each app have a separate volume from the media volume. That's a feature some people like, but don't get your hopes up. It does not work. And I researched this, and apparently it's been broken since Android 12. So Motorola just has not fixed it. This is not an accessibility issue. This is a very mainstream issue that has not been addressed for whatever reason. They need to take that switch out of there since it literally does nothing. But another option in here in the sound settings that I found, and this is something I like on my Samsung phone, but you have to use a good lock module to do this, is you can have it so that when the screen's off, long pressing a volume key will switch tracks. So it will skip to the next track or previous track, depending on if you press volume up or volume down and hold it. Also, what I like about it is that it will vibrate to let you know it's done something, which my Samsung phone does not vibrate. It just does the thing, which if you're listening to an audiobook or a podcast or something, and something that has silences within it. Now, obviously, if you're listening to music and you go to a different song, you're going to know that it's worked. But if you're just listening to something and you're trying to back up 30 seconds, it's not always clear that it's actually done it. So I like having that vibration feedback when you press and hold it to let you know it's done it. So I do really enjoy that feature.
Notifications. Notification history. Conversations. 10 of 30.
I don't think there's much to comment on in here.
Gestures. Use gestures and keys to quickly open frequently used functions. 11 of 30.
There are some customizations in here, mostly typical things. But the one thing that stood out for me was there's like a twist your wrist feature that Motorola has to bring up the camera really quickly, and it actually works really well. Like I said, I haven't been daily driving this, but I have used it enough and it's never accidentally triggered it. And when I do the twist action, it actually does bring it up every time. So it's a very reliable gesture for that if you want to assign the double press of your side key to do something different other than bring up the camera. So I think from here on down in the settings, everything is pretty typical. Nothing I wanted to comment there. But I will show you, if you want these split notifications and quick settings, how to do that. I'm going to go back up to the top here.
Gestures. Use personalize. Wallpaper. Network and internet. Connected to Moto AI. Personalize. External display. Display. Dark theme. Home and lock screen. Customize what is displayed on home and lock screens. 8 of 30.
Okay, so, and this is part of the reason I'm showing you. You wouldn't think to go in here, but this is where you find it.
Home and lock screen. Navigate up. Button out of list. Home settings. Customize style icon. Control center. Choose the way to access notifications and quick settings. 2 of 3.
Then you go to Control Center here.
Control Center. Navigate up. Button out of list. Selected. Radio button. Classic style. Swipe down from the top to open notifications and quick settings. 2 of 4 in list 4 items.
So Classic is selected.
Not selected. Radio button. Modern style. Swipe down from the top left for notifications. Swipe down from top right for quick settings.
I'm going to do this.
Selected.
And then let's see if,
Settings. Button.
yeah, let's see what the settings are for it.
Modern style. Navigate up. Button out of. Swipe gestures. Heading. Selected. Radio button. Swipe down from the top left for notifications. Swipe down from top right for quick settings. 2 of 3.
Okay, so similar to how Samsung does it, you can, and I think even OnePlus gives you this option, you can choose which side.
Not selected. Radio button. Swipe down from the top right for notifications. Swipe down from top left for quick settings. 3 of 3.
I think that's all in here. Yeah, that's all that's in
Modern
here.
style. Out of list.
Backing out.
Control center. Settings. Button 3 of 4 in list. Allow control center access on lock screen. On. Switch 4 of 4.
Here's an option whether you want access on the lock screen or not. That's all that's on this page. So now that I've switched it over, I'm going to show you what the quick settings looks like.
Quick settings. On Wi-Fi signal full. Wi-Fi 9 area 5 GHz. Switch out of list.
Now I have a talkback gesture assigned to quick settings, so I recommend you do that as well, because it's not always easy to swipe from a very specific part of the top of the screen, or put either the clock or battery in focus and then double tap, hold, and drag down. Like, it's very tedious. So I highly recommend just assign quick settings to a talkback gesture if you're going to have them split like this. But just showing you the interface here.
On. Mobile data. Switch. On. Not connected. Bluetooth. Switch. 93%. Display brightness. Slider.
And this is something I wanted to show you. So you heard what it said, right? Now I'm going to swipe down.
88%. Music volume set to 87%.
I'll swipe back up.
93%.
So as you can see, this
Music volume
is
set to 93%.
actually not a brightness slider. It is a volume slider. So swiping right.
Mute button.
I did label this button, mute button. This was unlabeled.
100%. Display brightness. Slider. Auto brightness button.
Auto brightness was also unlabeled. So both of these buttons were unlabeled, and both of the sliders were labeled brightness. So not only laziness by not labeling, but it feels like a developer just copied and pasted code and did not even think to, label the thing what it actually was. Yeah, so these are both going to be called brightness. You'll just have to remember the first one is actually volume, and the next one is brightness. Other than that, I think, well, let's see, does this have the same
No media playing.
issue?
Open settings. Open settings.
Yeah, this has the same issue as the other quick settings, where there are 2 open settings buttons. One takes you to settings and one takes you to the power menu. So other than that, everything works fine on here. Actually, there was one other issue. The play controls on the screen they're also not labeled. You can label them yourself. It's like a widget that controls your playback, and you don't have to label them per app. You just label them once, and no matter what app it is, the buttons will be labeled, so it's fixable. And now I'm just going to show you how to edit order of settings.
Edit order of settings. Button. Pop-up window. Edit quick settings. In list.
So you can edit quick settings.
Hide media player.
Choose whether the media player is shown.
Edit quick settings.
Going back to here,
Quick settings editor. Navigate up. Button out of list.
we'll see what we have.
Position 5. Do not disturb. In grid 18 rows 4 columns.
I was able to do this, I just don't remember how accessible it was.
Position 6. Hotspot. Position 7. Power sharing.
Okay, so let's see if we have actions.
Move tile. Activate. Move tile. Move to 7. Move to 8. Move to 9.
Let me see if I go down here.
Position invalid. Position invalid.
So I
Position
can't
invalid. Position invalid.
move it off of here. Let's see.
Move to 7.
Okay, move to 7.
Position 7. Power sharing. Position 6. Hotspot.
So now I'm going to see if I can remove hotspot. I dragged it to the bottom half. Let's see if it's still there.
Hold and drag to add tiles. Position 5. Do not disturb. Position 6. Power sharing.
Yeah, so hotspot is now gone. So in order to remove, you actually have to double tap, hold, and drag. Let's see if the same is for
Dark theme.
adding.
Add tile.
There is an action to add tile.
Activate. Add tile. Add to position 8.
So there's that, and of course,
Position invalid. Position invalid.
Okay, now.
Position invalid.
Oh, I have to choose where I want to add it. Let's see.
Add to position 7. Position 7. Dark theme.
Okay, so you use the action to add it, and then you choose your position. It's actually better than double tapping and dragging, but I just make sure it works.
Extra dim.
Adding it. There was a vibration when it started dragging, but that's it, so I'm going to release it. See if extra dim is up
Position
here
7.
now.
Power sharing. Position 6. Extra dim.
So extra dim is here. It did work. Like I said, there's no feedback. Speaking of feedback, I need to use that send feedback tile. I don't remember if I put it there or if it was there by default, but we definitely need to use that button. All right, so I think I have demonstrated all the main parts of the UI that would make it different from any other Android phone. And I've commented on a couple of the settings I like and don't like. Another thing I wanted to bring up is Jishuo. For those of you that use it, I was able to install it and run it with no issues. I did not use it, but I just wanted to make sure that I could get it up and running, and it was pretty straightforward. It's basically the same as on a Pixel. One odd thing that I came across is the fact that it wouldn't let me install Jishuo Lite with Play Protect enabled, but it did let me install Jishuo Plus with Play Protect enabled. I don't think that is specific to this device, but I'm sure if I had just turned off Play Protect, I could have installed either and turned it back on. And also, I did install it with just the stock default package installer. I didn't have to use third-party software. I was able to go into the app info for Jishuo and enable restricted settings from the more options menu there. Again, this is not a review, so I won't recommend or not recommend this, but I had a lot of questions myself, and I'm sure that you guys had questions as well. So hopefully I have answered some of those questions. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for that one, John. And for me, though, I kind of like the sound. You know, John, you mentioned that the accessibility volume, you were kind of, it sounds loud to me. How about you guys? I don't know, maybe my ears have too much fluff in it, but for me, though, it sounds really good. I don't have any problem with the sound of the TTS readout, you know, using the screen reader. I actually find it to be rather pleasant. It's a device that if I were into flips and foldables, I probably will get that phone. It doesn't sound bad at all.
You're referring to the sample, right? Not the the demo like through the computer the whole time, right?
No, the sample,
Yeah.
especially the one with the screen reader. I kind of like the.
Yeah, it sounds bad to me. It's just it's got that like, I don't know. What do you guys think about the sample?
Well, I think for me it's okay. I didn't see anything bad on it.
I think the clarity is slightly decreased when we are dealing with accessibility volume. I don't know how about because you didn't use Jishuo, so I can't compare when using media volume and accessibility volume. But slightly muffled, not that much. But is it like that, or the recording wasn't giving the right sound?
So it's like I don't know how to explain it. That like high pitched sound when you're listening to like a radio station that has like really low bandwidth, and you hear that like high pitched sound like alongside everything, like that's just what it sounds like to me. It's irritating. I don't know.
Like when you're using a frequency generator?
I don't know. But I will say this. I can hear it. I can definitely hear what I don't like about it in the sample. So if you're listening to that sample and it doesn't bother you, then it's not going to bother you. So it did come through in the recording what I didn't like about it.
Yeah, well, you know, this is a small form factor. You know, it's a flip phone. It's not even a fold, right? So I don't think I will have too much judgment on it, you know, given the form factor of the phone. But frankly, the the screen reader and all of that, sounds good to me. And these are some of the things that, may sound good to someone and may not sound good to someone, and could be like a deal breaker for someone, and yet in the same breath to someone it's no deal breaker at all. Now, frankly, if I were into flips and foldables, I probably would be getting this because it sounds really good. And the UI, sounds very clean, taking what Motorola always does. The UI is very clean. So do you know how many, I don't remember how many years of updates. I know Motorola is kind of being very stingy, but doesn't this have like 4 or 5 years? I think it's one of the new ones that Motorola is giving some life to. Isn't this one of those? I thought it was. Thank you so much for that one, John. And for me, though, I kind of like the sound. John, you mentioned that the accessibility volume, you were it sounds loud to me. How about you guys? I don't know, maybe my ears have too much fluff in it, but for me, though, it sounds really good. I don't have any problem with the sound of the TTS readout, using the screen reader. I actually find it to be rather pleasant. It's a device that if I were into flips and foldables, I probably will get that phone. It doesn't sound bad at all.
You're referring to the sample, right? Not the the demo like through the computer the whole time, right?
No, the sample,
Yeah.
especially the one with the screen reader. I kind of like the
Yeah, it sounds bad to me. It's just it's got that like, I don't know. What do you guys think about the sample?
Well, I think for me it's okay. I didn't see anything bad on it.
I think the clarity is slightly decreased when we are dealing with accessibility volume. I don't know how about because you didn't use G-Show, so I can't compare when using media volume and accessibility volume. But slightly muffled, not that much. But is it like that, or the recording wasn't giving the right sound?
So it's like I don't know how to explain it. That like high pitched sound when you're listening to like a radio station that has like really low bandwidth, and you hear that like high pitched sound like alongside everything, like that's just what it sounds like to me. It's irritating. I don't know.
Like when you're using a frequency generator?
I don't know. But I will say this. I can hear it. I can definitely hear what I don't like about it in the sample. So if you're listening to that sample and it doesn't bother you, then it's not going to bother you. So it did come through in the recording what I didn't like about it.
Yeah, well, this is a small form factor. It's a flip phone. It's not even a fold, right? So I don't think I will have too much judgment on it, given the form factor of the phone. But frankly, the screen reader and all of that, sounds good to me. And these are some of the things that, may sound good to someone and may not sound good to someone, and could be like a deal breaker for someone, and yet in the same breath to someone, it's no deal breaker at all. Now, frankly, if I were into flips and foldables, I probably would be getting this because it sounds really good. And the UI, sounds very clean, taking what Motorola always does. The UI is very clean. So do you know how many, I don't remember how many years of updates. I know Motorola is kind of being very stingy, but doesn't this have like 4 or 5 years? I think it's one of the new ones that Motorola is giving some life to. Isn't this one of those? I thought it was.
I don't know. I didn't. That's not even something I was concerned about. I actually bought it just renewed because I did not plan on keeping it. I mean, if I fell in love, I would have kept it, but I knew I wasn't going to. or I didn't expect to. So I just got it renewed from Amazon so that I felt less guilty about returning it because it was basically already a return.
Yeah, and but I think it's one of those that has a better shelf life when it comes to OS support. I may be wrong, but I thought it's one of those ones that's slated for like either 4 years or 5 years of the OS updates. And like I said, the one good thing I like about Moto phones is the clean UI. It's almost stock-like, and it has some tricks up its sleeve that's sometimes even better than the Pixel UI. Some of the stuff that we have actually we borrowed from the Motorola. I mean, like the touch to wake or whatever. I think that was something that Motorola has first, and the shaking for the camera or whatever. Motorola's got some good stuff going on there.
Yeah, I like the features they added. As far as it's funny, I would almost recommend a Motorola phone. It's not a flip phone, just from the like. I did enjoy the experience while it was open. Like it was decent. I mean, it had its accessibility issues, like things mislabeled, things not labeled, but you know, it did add some nice features, like you mentioned the camera gesture where you just twist your wrist to open the camera. I like the volume buttons to skip tracks when the screen is off. I like that. So they have added. It's close to stock, but they have added some pretty useful stuff.
It is a good phone, and I mean, generally speaking, Motorola phones. The only drawback is that some of them don't get that OS support for a long time. But of course, most people probably would have changed their phones anyway. But if one is looking for a phone that has a clean UI, so I mean, probably we could put 4 or 5 manufacturers on there. You know, you got the Pixel, you got Samsung, you got Motorola, you got Sony, and you have the OnePlus. I think these have some nice UIs, right? We'll all agree on that these are probably some of the phones with good UI that people are not going to necessarily have any major accessibility issues with. So I would gladly put Motorola on that column as one of the great brands to get if one is looking for a good phone. And if you don't mind that it may not have a long time of OS support.
Yeah, I mean, if you've made it this far in the recording, you've heard my demonstration, so I don't have to beat a dead horse here. But you know, Motorola did not go out of their way to make sure TalkBack was a good experience on this. You know, it's the cover screen. Things are unlabeled. The basic things like adding or deleting things. You know, the button's not labeled. You know, the app interface itself isn't even labeled correctly. Like it's just, I forget what it said, but like it's just got an ugly name. Like, you know, whoever gave the app that name thought a screen reader would never be reading it out loud, or nobody would ever see the name of the app. You know, same with some buttons, like the notification button is like notification indicator area button. Like it should just be labeled notifications if they took the time to label it correctly. But it's just basic stuff like that. That's like, just like your average app developer making his first app would do. Like it's just it accidentally works well enough to use the cover screen. So that's all I have to say about it. Like Motorola did not check to make sure it was a good experience. You can use it if you really want to, if you want a flip phone.
I think, though, that generally speaking, most cover screens on some of these foldables and flips don't work too well with accessibility, you know, outside of Samsung. I think even Samsung maybe has some problems, no? John?
Samsung's is much better. I mean, out of the box, Samsung doesn't let you do as much on the cover screen, but they've labeled things. I mean, they've done basic things like label stuff. They've made sure TalkBack menus work on the cover screen.
Yeah.
They've made sure that when you actually hide the screen, it hides the cover screen. Like it wasn't like that in the beginning, but they did correct that type of stuff eventually. Whereas Motorola, it's just like
Yeah.
they didn't do anything.
So the OnePlus, though, meaning saying an added plus to the Motorola is that the talkback, however, comes direct from the Google Play Store. So you'll have that good experience with the image description, right?
Yeah, as long as you're not on the cover screen, because talkback pop-ups don't work on the cover screen.
So forget about the cover screen, but basically, if you unfold the phone or unflip the phone, though the image description would work just well as the one were on a Pixel device, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the unfolded experience is good. I would recommend it. I would recommend a regular Motorola phone that doesn't fold. I mean, like I said, if you just want a phone that folds and you think that's cool and neat and you want to try it, you can figure this out. You can use it. It's not completely inaccessible, but I wasn't impressed.
And the one thing is that the price is right. I think for me, if the price is right, probably some of those little picadillos could be ignored. Most especially, if you get it on a good sale for $600 or whatever dollars, I don't know, maybe buy a renewed one. It's definitely cheaper than Samsung's offering. Up next is the App of the Week segment. This is a segment dedicated to app demonstrations. Should you have an app that you would like to demonstrate for our listeners, feel free to send us the recording of such an app demo to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your App of the Week. And to close today's episode, here's that demo of the app I was talking about. And the app of the week is something called Office Viewer Reader. I haven't tested it, though, with some of the formats. I tested it, however, with the EPUB reader, and it works well. So we'll see what happens. And if it doesn't work with Word or some other formats, I'll definitely be contacting the developer. But here's that demonstration of Office Viewer Reader. Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast. And as we continue with our App of the Week series, for episode 237 App of the Week, today I'll be demonstrating an app simply called Office Viewer Reader. For today's demonstration, I'll be utilizing my Pixel 9 Pro XL running Android 16 QPR1, Beta 2, and TalkBack 16.0. I am on the home page, that is on the play page of Office Viewer Reader, and I'll navigate now to the About, and we'll hear about the description of the app, and thereafter I'll come back to the installation page and install, and let's get started. Let's now hear the description of the app.
About this app. Heading: Google Play Store. Office Reader, PDF, Word, Excel. Details: read and view Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, RTF, CSV, HTML, and ebook files. The Office Reader is a free app that lets you read and view Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, RTF, HTML, MD, EML, MSG, and ebook documents offline. Checkmark supported file formats: DocX Microsoft Word, XLSX Microsoft Excel, PPT PPTX Microsoft PowerPoint, PDF portable document format, RTF rich text format, TXT text log text format, CSV separated values, HTML XHTML hypertext markup language, MD Markdown, EPUB MOBI AZW AZW3 AZW4 ebook formats, EML MSG electronic mail format, IPYNB PGN, portable game notation, MML, MathML, mathematical markup language, source codes, Java, KT, Scala, PY, RB, Dart, JS, TSC, CPP, XML, YML, HTML, XHTML, CSS, so on. Checkmark supported password protected file formats: DOCX, XLSX, PPT, PPTX, PDF, checkmark convert, DocX PDF text, PPT, PPTX PDF text, PDF PDF rasterize PPTX text, RTF PDF, CSVX SLX, HTML PDF, MD PDF, EML MSG PDF, source codes PDF, checkmark doc scan, checkmark folder navigation, checkmark long press app icon. Display a list of the 4 most recently opened files for that app. App info. Version 4.5.2. Updated on May 25, 2025. Downloads 500,000 plus downloads. Download size 23.83 megabytes. Required OS Android 8.0 and up. In-app purchases $0.49 minus $19.99 per item. Offered by nTools. Released on June 10, 2020.
And that's both the description and the history of the app. I'll now navigate back to the installation page and tap on that install.
Play Store. About this app. Heading. In-app purchases. Install. Pending. Verified by Play Protect. Navigate up. Button out of list. Office Reader, PDF, Word, Excel. 8%. 100%. Installing. Button. Open. In list.
We're done with the installation, and I'll now tap on Open button.
Allow all files access. Office Reader. Out of list.
The first dialog we're coming across is the one to allow the file access. Of course, we need to allow it.
Please allow permission for storage access since the app needs to access public folder or files.
Okay.
Allow.
And I'll tap on Allow.
All files access. Navigate up. Button.
We're now on the screen where we could allow the file access by turning on that switch there on the top right. And I'll now tap on that to turn it on.
Off. Allow access to manage all files. Switch.
And I'll tap.
On.
And now I'll go back.
Office Reader. Home.
We're now back in the menu eye, and the first thing we heard was Home. As always, though, I'd like to start exploring from the top and see what buttons we have. In other words, trying to get familiar with the layout of the app. Starting from the top left corner, here's what we got.
About.
The first item there on the top left is About, and moving my finger to the right,
Selected. Tab. 1 of 2 in list 2 items.
we come across a tab that simply says Tab Selected, and that reflects the selection at the bottom, which is the home. We'll see that later on. Moving on to the right,
Tab. 2 of 2.
we hear another one that says Tab 2 of 2. If we tap here, it will take us to the second tab at the bottom, which would be the word format. Moving on to the right,
Storages. Button out of list.
the last item here on the top right corner of the phone is the one called Storages. Basically, when we tap here, though, it'll show you all the cloud storages that you have available on your phone. So it goes by what you have installed on your phone. For example, if I tap here,
Storages. Internal storage.
the first thing we heard is internal storage. Moving on down,
Google Drive. Row 2.
there's Google Drive,
Dropbox. Row 3.
Dropbox.
Mega. Row pCloud. Row Dagoo. Row.
I'm just going through the different ones that I have. And again, it depends on what you have installed. I'll now go back.
Office Reader. Home. Out of grid.
Now, moving our way down, though, at the very bottom, we have some tabs. Starting from the bottom left, of course, we have the home, which is selected by
Home.
default.
Tab. 1
And
of 5
then
in
moving
list
to
5
the
items.
right,
Word. Tab.
Word.
2 of 5.
Next to the right,
Excel. Tab. 3 of 5.
next,
PowerPoint. Tab. 4 of 5.
that's PowerPoint. And the last item
PDF. Tab. 5 of 5.
is PDF. I do want to mention here, however, that above that PDF tab, we do have a couple buttons. The first one is Open Document, and the second one is the Scan Document. Here's what I'm talking about.
Open a document. Button out of list.
And below that,
Scan. Button.
there's the Scan. Now, of course, below that is the PDF tab. Now, let's go ahead though and look at the About, because the About does have some stuff in there. So let's go back and work our way back to the top and tap on that About on the top left corner.
About. Button. Office Reader. Navigate up. Button.
I am in the About now and will navigate my way through the items found in the menu. Here's what we got.
Office Reader 4.5.2. Enlist.
Next,
Theme. System default.
we come across a theme and automatically it uses the system theme. And of course, if you don't like your system theme, you want light mode or whatever, you could tap here to go change it. Moving on next.
Language. System default.
And again, you can go in here and change the language that you want, but by default, it selects your system language. Next.
Help and support. Out of list.
We come across the help and support, and below that we've got
Office Reader Plus. Upgrade to Office Reader Plus to remove the coffee icon and enjoy premium features. Enlist.
In other words, if you tap here, it will take you to where you could subscribe. It doesn't have an annual subscription. It has a monthly subscription for 79 cents a month, of course, so that puts you about $9 a year. Like I said, it does not have an annual subscription. Moving on to the next one.
Feedback.
Feedback. Next.
Radar app.
Next.
Translator EN. Justin Song. nToolsLab.com.
Next.
Family apps. Out of list.
We come across family apps, and below that we've got
Apps on sale. Show a list of apps and games currently for sale. Enlist.
In other words, if you tap here, it's going to take you to the Play Store that you could install this app to see what apps are on sale or free apps. Next.
Open Office Viewer. ODF Open Document Format PDF Document Viewer.
That'll take you to the Play Store as well for another app. Next.
QR Barcode. Scans, reads, and creates most barcode and QR code formats.
And of course, that will take you to the Play Store if you want to install that app. Next.
nTools. Out of list.
Next.
Copyright 2025 nTools. nToolsLab.com. Enlist.
And that's the last item in the About menu. I'll now navigate my way back to the menu eye.
Office Reader. Storages. Button out of list.
Before I bring this to a close, I want to mention here in passing that I haven't tried it with some of these documents. The one I tried it with was an EPUB, and it does not have a TTS readout. In other words, if you're using it, you'll be using your screen reader. I'll have to try it with both .docs and PDF documents later on and see what I observe. And that would conclude this short demonstration of the Office Viewer Reader. Thanks for listening. And that's what that demo is. And it's a very clean UI. Sometimes I just opened it a little while ago and it came up with an ad for some reason, like a video ad, but it's not. I don't know why they're doing that, but you know, one of those things, probably they want me to subscribe to that 79 cents a month. It's not bad. I probably would do that, most especially if the guy fixes, if there's any problems with any of the formats and he fixes it, then it will be something that one could use.
One thing I want to mention here is that the app isn't available in all countries. So you should see if you're lucky enough to have it in your country. Because when I opened the Play Store page, it showed me that ugly message, this app is not available in your country. So yeah, try and see.
That is really odd. I didn't look at where the developer is from. I was thinking maybe it was a European developer, but I'm probably wrong. I'll have to look at and see if it says where it's from, but it's not in your country. Sally, can you confirm later on to see if it's in Turkey or not? But I don't know why it wouldn't be, in Koreans, but apparently it's not.
I'm on a process to check this right now.
Yeah, I'm going to hold. Let's hold up and see if you can check to see if it's there or not.
I can install it here.
It's available in your country?
Yeah, it's available, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Karen, so I think maybe because you're not liking pineapples, the guy kind of got pissed off at you and not giving it to you. Could that be the reason why? I'm just kidding. But I don't know why.
He hates Lebanese, and I'll be against the app. And I'll ask people to give it 1-star rating.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know why he did that. I'm going to ask him about that. why is it not in Lebanon? And I'm going to say here, one of my podcast crew members is trying to install it and it's not in there. And if you don't have it for all our podcast crew members, then I think he's going the wrong direction.
Hold on, I'm gonna try it again because maybe I was hallucinating like ChatGPT or something.
Yeah, well, let us know if it's not there, because frankly, I'll put that comment in my email to him when I write to him. If it doesn't work with some apps or whatever formats, then I'm going to be reaching out to him and I'll mention that in there as well.
Here we go. Here we go. This is the app. This item isn't available in your country.
Yeah, so definitely it's not letting you get it. So yeah, we'll complain to him about it. All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us. Well, folks, with that, we come to the end of today's episode. As always, we have information on how you can get hold of us. And John's standing by to give you that information on how to get hold of us. John?
To contact us, simply send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. If you'd prefer, you can leave a voicemail by calling +1 307 202 9797. You can join our mailing list by sending a blank email to blindandroidusers plus subscribe @groups.io. You can join our Facebook and Telegram groups or subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links in the podcast show notes or YouTube video description. And you can find all of this information and more at our website, blindandroidusers.com.
Thank you so much for that, John. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. We're looking forward to seeing you guys next week. As always, thank you for listening to us. And from me, it's goodbye.
Have a great week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye, people. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.